Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers. It's Kieran here. I am actually in Durban in South Africa. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the Comrades Marathon for the first time, and it's a great opportunity to do a race test that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm going to be looking at the Apple Watch Ultra 12-hour GPS battery life versus the Comrades Marathon, which has a 12-hour cutoff. If you don't finish in 12 hours, you're done. So this is kind of the perfect race to test the battery life for this watch. I'm going to be putting that up against the Garmin Enduro 2 and also the Garmin Fenix 7 Pro, the new watch from Garmin. I'll be testing the GPS, I'll be testing the battery life overall, will it survive? I'll be seeing if I can survive as well. I'll also be looking at the heart rate up against the Fourth Frontier chest strap as well. So we'll be comparing all of those watches, seeing how they get on. Can the Apple Watch Ultra last? Watch on to find out. Nice one. So for context, the Comrades Ultra starts at 5:30, is a point to point. So what you have to do is get a bus out to the start and then run back to where you're finishing. If you're doing it the way I'm doing it, is where I'm staying in Durban, the finish in Durban. So we go to Pietermaritzburg. But that means I have to be up at 1 o'clock. I'll be leaving the hotel about 2:30. So I'm gonna have to take my watch off charge, probably at the latest, maybe around 2:30. The race starts at 5:30. So not only have I got 12 hours run time, GPS time of the Apple Watch Ultra, but there'll be that block beforehand. So proper test to see if this watch battery can last an Ultra like that. It's the kind of thing that if you're running a 100k Ultra in the UK, you had a 12-hour target, this would be an equivalent good Ultra test. So the race is going to be excellent. Let's go and find out how we get on. So I obviously race tested the Apple Watch Ultra against what could have been a 12-hour Ultra. We took it off charge around 2:30 this morning, and it's gone down to 31% now after the race finished, so it lasted nicely. The Garmin Enduro is only down to 86%, and the Fenix 7 Pro at 73%, so that's the difference. But the Apple Watch, I think I did 9 hours, just under 9 hours for the Comrades, so plus the bus ride, it's worked for that. You might have managed to get in at 12 as well if you extended it. We'll go through all of the other data, heart rate, GPS, all of those stats back in the office or the studio or whatever, because I'm tired. Got myself a Bill Rowan sub-9 first Comrades, and I think I've earned myself a beer. So, and also out there, thank you to everybody who came and said hello, watchers of the Run Testers. Magic to meet you, so many of you out there. It's absolutely fantastic, really made my race. So yeah, thank you for watching. So I'm back in the office, fully recovered from my Comrades adventure, and I wanted to get a little bit deeper into the other data from the race test with the Apple Watch Ultra. So let's start off by confirming those battery life results then. Well, when I crossed the finish line after 8 hours and 48 minutes, the Apple Watch Ultra battery was down to 35%. That's 60% battery used during the 9 hours of running. That's the GPS track time. That's burning an average of around 6.5% every hour. Now for a single stint, that's actually a strong performance really, particularly when it comes compared to other Apple Watches. And you're probably looking at happily getting around 14 hours of GPS tracking from the Apple Watch Ultra, provided you're not using music or making a lot of calls or using a lot of the other smarts of the smartwatch. Now if I'd needed another 3 hours to complete the race within the 12-hour cutoff, the Apple Watch Ultra probably would have lasted the distance and still had enough juice to call the family after, to hail an Uber, or to pay for a celebratory beer. Now to put that into context, you'd have enough staying power to run a 100km ultra at 8.5 minutes per kilometre or 13.5 minutes per mile. Now no previous Apple Watch or other smartwatch would cover that kind of race time or distance. Classic running watches though are a totally different story of course, and by comparison the Garmin Enduro 2 burned just 14% from taking it off charge right to the finish line, while the new Fenix 7 Pro burned 27%. So the Apple Watch Ultra battery life isn't yet anywhere near those two endurance beasts. When it came to GPS performance, I set up all three watches to use the more accurate dual frequency multi-band GPS tracking smarts, so they're all in high power mode, and the results were impressively consistent actually. The Apple Watch Ultra's overall distance across the 55 miles of South African countryside was just slightly higher than the Enduro 2 and the Fenix 7 Pro, but we're talking about 0.4% difference, which is insignificant I think over such a long distance, so pretty good performance across the board. And when you look at the GPS traces as well from all three, they all follow similar lines. There's no significant deviation through buildings or meanders off piste that would cause alarm. They all wandered slightly at times, but not enough to affect the overall accuracy. We are running in quite clear open skies though, so that was one thing to consider there. Now while that overall race distance tracking was reliable, the real-time pacing did what real-time pacing does on most watches. All three watches took turns to kind of flicker up and down around a bit, and they rarely all agreed at the same time when I looked down. So I wouldn't say the Apple Watch Ultra was any better or worse than the two Garmin's when it came to real-time pacing. They both had those fluctuations, or all three did. So on to heart rate performance. Now the Comrades is a hot and very hilly race where you might expect some heart rate trackers to actually struggle with the shifts in intensity, but I was impressed to find the watch's average heart rate readings all in agreement at the end of the race. That rarely happens. They also matched the 450-pound Fourth Frontier X2 chest strap really closely. The chest strap put my average BPM at 140 compared to the 141 BPM on all the watches. There was a little less consensus when it came to the max heart rate. The Enduro 2 clocked the highest at 171 beats per minute, the Fenix 7 Pro the lowest at 165, the Apple Watch Ultra came in the middle at 169 beats per minute. The chest strap peaked at 164 beats per minute, so slightly lower. But overall those higher reads tended to be momentary peaks when you look into the data. And for large parts of the race, the sensors were really kind of closely matched across the board. So again, I wouldn't say there's any standout top performer when it comes to the optical heart rate performance. At least during this race, where the pacing overall, I tried to keep it as consistently as possible. So would I choose the Apple Watch Ultra to run an Ultra? Well, when I saw the Apple launch the Watch Ultra with photos of desert runners and that Ultra tag in the name, I was kind of the first to question its long-haul endurance credentials. But this Comrades test, I think, has convinced me that we're getting much closer to having an Apple Watch that's Ultra ready. It will certainly do a job for well-marked road Ultras up to 100 kilometers for faster runners. However, even with that longer GPS battery life and this more rugged build that you get and some improved navigation, I still think there's a way to go before the Apple Watch Ultra is a genuine, conquer them all ultra running tool. That battery life still isn't there for multi-day or 24-hour races, for example, and the native navigation I think remains somewhat limited. But my Comrades test has convinced me that for races up to kind of 14 or 15 hours on a marked course, Apple finally has a watch that you can rely on to at least last the distance and track with good accuracy. And plus you get all those extra smarts that you get from the smartwatch that you won't necessarily find on Garmin, Coros or Polar. So there you have it. That has been my race test at the Comrades Marathon of the Apple Watch Ultra. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out some of the other content around the Comrades kit tests, all those kind of things that I've done on the channel. Or actually, in fact, check out our Apple Watch Ultra review, which should be appearing on the channel just about now. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and we hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers.